Hello everyone, and thank you very much for being here with us today for this new session of a webinar. Today I'm here, so François Flech, for who don't know, François Flech from the marketing team, and I'm here with Enzo Palomba, our technical expert today. Hello, Enzo.
Hello everyone. Hello François.
Thank you, Enzo, for being here also, and I hope everyone here well. And let's go. So today the topic is how to remotely operate and maintain your assets. So first, few words about who we are and what we do. So we are a software company doing software and hardware solutions, mainly for monitoring and control system. So basically, our platform collects the data from equipments, do data process, display and control, and also do reporting and share the data. So we've doing that for more than 35 years. In various markets and worldwide, with about 70,000 licenses sold so far, and a bunch of partnership with all technological association. So today, briefly the content, a short introduction, and then I'm gonna present to you our mobile offer. And Enzo will demonstrate you a part of a web client, and then we will conclude. So during all the session, it's possible for you to send your questions if you have, and at the end we will answer to it. So introduction. So what is the context of the remote use for monitoring and control our system? The trends are that there's more and more devices, more and more network, and at the end, more and more connected things, I would say. So this brings more and more data, raw data. At the same time, we do have more and more mobile users. And the recent events, worldwide events, showed that it's not ready to stop. So we're going to have more and more mobile and remote users. And in this context, the challenge is to answer this question: how to provide relevant information to from raw data, and how to convert the raw data into information to the mobile users, knowing that there's different devices, different use, different needs for use for mobile users, and all of that must be done in an easy and secure manner. So that's more or less the challenge that we have here. So how here at Arc Informatique do we answer to that? So we design our solution with 4 main key points in mind. The first one and the main one is that the remote solution must be an extension of the operator. So it must be intuitive. The user is given relevant information with no need to ask. That's the principle, and the solution must be easy to use. The second key point is that the solution must be interactive. So the system is not here to replace the user, but the system is to help the user and to answer the question the user may have on the installation on the asset. And the system must also be able to notify the user in case of an event to help the user. The third point is that the system must be intelligent. As I said, there's more and more data, raw data, and it's very, very important to be able to filter all those raw data and to deliver relevant information from those raw data. So the system must be able to provide relevant information, and it's, if possible, according to the user's context and the user's role. And the system must be able to anticipate and predict events. So the system can alert the user. And finally, the system obviously must be secure and based on secure mobile infrastructure. So this is the key points we had in mind when we design our mobile and remote solutions. And this solution can be described as it is with some product, combined product. So you can use those products independently or combined together. The first one is navigation focused. So you can do remote access for monitoring and control from a web browser or remote desktop through a standard classic HMI, but a remote HMI. And here we have a product for that called WebView. There's a notification-based solution for not to be notified and for immediate control and immediate action. So we have here a notification app StageView. And finally, we have an app based on geolocation of the user and helping to monitor and control surrounding assets according to the location and the role of the user. So this is SnapView. So I'm going to through all those solutions just to briefly give you the highlight of all those products. But before that, I wanted to mention that all our solutions are based on a dedicated and proprietary technology, which is the Easy Mobile technology for give an ease and secure configuration and deployment to the user. So there's no gateway or extra plugin. It's built-in technology. Don't need to install anything on the client side. All the settings are through wizards only. It means that this technology is aiming to address end user, system integrator, or IT expert. Okay, it's for any kind of user. And it allows secure and scalable architecture and communication and provide also easy diagnostic for an affordable prices. In terms of architecture, just a few words about the fact that all the mobile solutions that we provide are secure by design, means that you can create full secured architecture with the DMZ, for example, and you can isolate the web access and your network. And to help to deploy this solution, and it's always with the goal to make everything easier for the user, for the designer, and for the user. We do provide the deployment console tool that allows to configure all the deployment of your remote installation. So you can create, for example, the web server. So we lean on IIS, Microsoft IIS, but you don't have to go through IIS itself. So it's possible to do all from this deployment console. And also you can declare all the security certificates, all the authentication management, and it's also possible for IT guys to perform some diagnostics. So this console is really user-friendly and really interesting when you want to deploy your solution. So let's go to different product now. Let's start with StageView, which is a notification mobile app. So basically, StageView is an app for on-call operators. Basically, StageView notify the mobile user and give some real-time information. For example, if you have an alarms, then you are notified and you can check some values, real-time values of your process, and you can also control some values if you need to correct something or to control something. And you can visualize also archive data, either events, but also trends. And it's possible to connect as many servers as you need, so you can be notified from many different sites with this app. through some screenshot here. You will have this interface with an inbox, basically where you have all the events notified by the app. And here, a server, the server connected where to which the app is connected to. And then, so you can have, as you can see here, several servers. It's possible to browse all the list of real-time data if you need. And here you have the list of alarm and list of events. Okay, so basically, how does that work? You have a notification here on your smartphone, for example. You click on it, and then you access to the real-time alarm list with different status of alarm, acknowledge alarm, alarm on, alarm off. And from this list, it's possible to acknowledge or mask an alarm directly from here. Okay, it's also possible to access the detailed view of an alarm and see what's going on. And once again, here, you can acknowledge or mask the alarm. It's also possible to go through the real-time values of your process, and you can change a value from this interface as well. Okay, here it's an example of trend for a trend value. Okay, and as I said previously, you can set a value as well from this interface. There's a self-demonstration. Scanning the QR code, you can download the app. So if you want to, you can send me an email, and I will send you all the slides, so you will have this demo available for testing on your side. Okay. So the second solution I'd like to talk to, a solution more focused on navigation. It means that you want to remotely access your process and be able to go through several menu and views to check that everything is all right, and you can monitor and control all your process, but remotely. So the first solution we have is a remote client, HTML5 remote client. It's based basically on the remote desktop from Windows, so the remote desktop services here. And this way you can have what we can call a thin, heavy client. It means it's a PCView client. It's a full PCView client, but remotely executed. So basically, here you will have a full-featured PCView with all the features that you have in your heavy client, but remotely on any station with Windows RDS features. And this solution, once again, support for DMZ, so secure architecture. And it's also important to note that only mouse and keyboard actions are transmitted through the network. So there's no value or no data going through. Second way to remotely access with an HMI, remote HMI, is a built-in HTML5 web client that we developed, and it's called WebView. So with WebView, basically you can access your PCView project from any web browser. Okay, so no need to install anything on the client side, obviously, and from any web browser you can then monitor and control your process. What the benefits for WebView? There's benefits for any kind of users. For the end user first, obviously, because it's much more easier to access from any web browser to the installations. There's no maintenance on the station you use to remotely access the process. For the system integrator, it's really user-friendly because you have this web deployment console, so it's easy to deploy. There's no plugin or external or third-party components to use. So it's really easy to deploy, and also WebView can be embedded in a third-party web portal, for example. So if you want to have your PCView interface in a web portal, you can do it using WebView integrated in an external portal. And finally, for the IT, because all the architectures are secure, can be secure. It's designed to be secure using HTTPS and DMZ architecture. And there's also a built-in diagnostic console for IT guys. Also a self-demonstration that you can access to. And once again, I will provide the slide for those who ask me by email. And before this, we have a demonstration today, not a self-demonstration, but a demonstration done by Enzo. So Enzo, it's your turn. I'm going to give you the mic. That's it. So you have
Okay.
now the mic.
I can now share my screen. So, François, let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see your screen perfectly.
Okay. So for the demonstration part, as François explained previously, I'm going to show you how to configure easily a WebView client. So first of all, what we're going to do is to configure our server. So we are going to use our web deployment console tool. This web deployment console tool will help us deploy all the services required for our WebView thin client and all the services in QIS that we need to make it work. So first of all, you will have this display that show up, and you will need to deploy your server. So you can enter an alias, you click next, and then you will need to deploy your server. In this case, we will go for the quick setup because it's easier to deploy. So you will need to give a name to your website, and then you will be able to choose your binding. For in this case, we use my local IP in the default port. Now, as François said, we are using HTML5 protocol, so it's based on the HTTPS secured protocol. So the certificate is mandatory, so we'll create one. In this case, for the demo purpose, we'll use a self-sign that we create ourselves. We give the name, default name, we click save, and the certificate will be added. We continue, and now we are going to use to create our backend. The backend is the PCView web server that we allow to the WebView client to display all the information regarding the SCADA. So we'll give you an alias, and as my QES server and my PCView are on the same machine, we'll have the host on the same machine with the default port. I click save and I go next. In this step, you will need to choose the service, the web service you want to deploy. In this case, we want to deploy WebView, so I select WebView and I click next. Here you have a small recap about all the configuration that you've done so far. So the services that are going to be deployed, the roles, your binding, your certificate, and the location of your backend. You can click on deploy, and the WDC, the web deployment console, will do it by itself and configure all that is required. So when the WC is done, you can close it for now because we already done all the configuration on server side. So now we will go to PCView and create a new project. So I will need to do a component registration because I was using an older version. When my component registration is done, I can run PCView 12 and I will, for the demo, use the QuickStart project. The QuickStart project, for ones that are not aware about this feature, it's a project that allows us to create a quick HMI and project environment. So it is a good start for the development of our SCADA system. In this case, I will use the default settings. I would call my project web, for example. And here you can choose how many mimics do you want to create. If you want to deploy it for the web, we click on yes, because we need to use this project for WebView. And then we can choose different colors resolutions. Whenever you're done, you can test your configuration and check for the result. If the result is convenient, you then can click on generate. You have a message that advises you to confirm your modification, because if you confirm, you won't be able to go back. You will need to create a new project. So when you're finished with the configuration with the QuickStart, you run again PCView 12 and you run the project that was automatically generated. Run it. And now, if you go to edition mode, you can check on PCView on the server side that
Enzo?
Yeah.
Maybe we can switch to English, the interface. I don't know if it's possible.
Yes, we can go through in English. Thank you for,
Okay.
I forgot what. So if you go to the Application Explorer, to the communication part, to server, as we choose web publication, we can see that our backend, our link with the QoS server on PCView side is already created. For WebView, on PCView side, you just need to have a profile, WebView profile, that has the web access enabled. In this case, we have this WebView profile, and we will choose a home mimic to display when we will log in WebView. So we apply, we click OK, and the user that is bind to this profile is the WebView user, and WebView, it has some, it's already created for the test. So now that we have configured PCView side and server side with the WDC, now we can try and access our WebView client. So we will run an HTML5 browser. We'll go and type our binding that we used for the deployment. And we type /client, /web client to access WebView. We tap enter, and as you can see, we have an error message because our certificate is delivered. It's an auto-signed certificate, so for the web browser is not a trusted site. So this is why we are getting this message. I will go to advanced and proceed to access our WebView. So now we are on the login page. So I will log with my user, my web user, and I will click on OK. Okay, I used the wrong user, so I have an error message. And now I chose the correct one, and I have an authorization message that advise me and tell me that I'm going to use the graphical data service. So now I grant it so I can access my Mimic. So as you've seen, I'm accessing the dashboard of my project. Okay. So as you've seen, the configuration web view is quite easy and fast to deploy from scratch. It's true that this deployment can get more complex regarding the network infrastructure and security requirements that can be asked on specific projects. As you can see here, I'm back to my project and I'm going to modify my dashboard. So to edit my dashboard, I will just add, for example, this circle as an object. I will save my project. Okay, I need to just change my view here. I will save my Mimic to take into account my modification, and I will just refresh my WebView client. And if everything is going good, I'm again on my home page, dashboard, and I have the modification that I've already applied on PCView side. So as you can see, the update is quite easy too. For the user, for example, you can imagine to have another tab on your Google Chrome or your favorite internet navigator. So we can have two tabs with, in this case, the dashboard display, and in this case, my alarm viewer display. So the user can switch between both tabs and have access to the different mimics. So the demonstration is now over. So feel free to ask your different questions in the space that it's given in the WebEx meeting. So François and I can answer your different questions. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Enzo. I take the presenter mode over. Okay, back on the presentation. So this demo is a basic demo, but it's not. It's just to see that other than the network issues you may have, because there's also network issues, the configuration in PCView is really done easily, and it's also easy to update the project, as Enzo showed. And when you update the project, the web client are updated in real time, which is very, very interesting. Okay, so Enzo, can you see my screen? Is it okay?
Yeah, your screen is okay. Clear.
So last but not the least, I would say solution and product I'd like to talk to is SnapView. SnapView is a very specific mobile app based on geolocation. So basically, this mobile app automatically gives relevant information to mobile devices according to indoor-outdoor mobile geolocation and mobile users' role and rights. Okay, so depending on where you are and what you have to do where you are, then the mobile app just gives you the information you need. It also supports for mobile teams. It means that SnapView user can exchange with messaging, and it's also possible to track some teams for security, for example, on the map. So basically, this mobile app is based. The solution is based on a mobile app, geolocation, and services. So how it works? Let's check that. You have an operator going through a process with SnapView, and the mobile phone has NFC, QR code, Bluetooth, or GPS signal. Okay, so the operator either scan the QR code or is detected by Bluetooth tags, and this information, the ID information, location and ID of the user, is transmitted to the system, and the system just analyzes it, and then depending on the user and where the user is, the system then automatically sends back relevant information, as you can see here on the screen. So for example, here, the list of alarm, the boiler status, the chiller status, and so on. So all information are automatically provided to the remote user. The user can also exchange with messages and can check different information for different assets. In the other side, on the central control room, you can monitor if there is an operator, a mobile operator, and where the operator is. And it's also possible, optionally, to track the teams to be sure where the teams are and to be able to provide some security or some stuff like that. With this app, it's possible to monitor and control surrounding devices with an automatic display of real-time information. It's also possible for the user to control values and access to log list, event log list, or to any resources such as documents, web page, and even a contextual animated view on specific value here. You can also have notifications, built-in instant messaging system for text, voices, and so on, but it's built-in. And there's also a bot called Snappy. So Snappy is a bot companion, which basically answers any question you may have on the system, and it's able to have this intelligence to answer accurately to your questions. So this is on the mobile app side. Also on the server side, as I said, you can have real-time information updated from SnapView user. You can geolocate the mobile devices and record actions and location. And once again, you have the built-in messaging system. So some use case here, it's possible also to visualize and control some devices with no HMI, for example. You can use it for maintenance operation, obviously, for commissioning, for team dispatch and security, and so on. There's many use cases with this kind of this app, and this app really answers to the first key point I mentioned at the start of the presentation: intuitive, interactive, and intelligent. So to conclude and then go through your question, there's much more data than before. There's more and more mobile users, and those mobile users must use system very securely. Okay, so there's strong expectation in terms of use and security. So starting from that, we designed a solution trying to cover various needs for operations and maintenance for any kind of user, from end user to system integrators and IT operator, because obviously IT is more and more involved in the systems, and we developed specific technology to make this secure, easy to use, and very efficient. Okay, so time for question. So if you have some question here. Okay, so I have a question here. Is it possible to use your mobile solution using VPN? Yes, it is. I don't know, Enzo, if you want to be more specific on that, but
Yeah, it's VPN solutions are obviously taken into account for our configuration. Obviously, as it is a more complex architecture deployment, some network knowledge it's obviously required. But it's with our system we are able to configure this kind of architecture.
okay. Okay, I have another question here. What differences between a heavy client and a web client in terms of features? So the full PCView client and the web client are not really designed for the same use. It means obviously you can use a PCView full client for monitoring and control your process 24 hours a day. It's not necessarily the case for the web client. So the features are almost the same, even if there's some limitation due to the technology. I mean, for example, in the web interface, the WebView client interface, you won't be able to run an ActiveX, okay, because the technology is not compatible. So you have this kind of differences, but it's not so huge between WebView client and full client. Anyway, you have the all list in the help if you need, or you can contact also our support. But today, I think the main difference is the use you have to you want to do with that. WebView, you don't have to install anything on the web on the client side. So it's a different deployment strategy as well. Okay, so for more questions, you can also send me an email directly to my email here. You must know that there will be a replay of this session, and obviously we are available to answer any question you may have on this topic. So I thank you very much again for being here today, and hope you liked the session. Don't forget to answer the short survey that you will have. It helps us to improve. And have a good morning, afternoon, or night, depending on where you are located. Thank you very much, and talk to you later. Talk to you in the next session. Bye.